Hey, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something super important, how to get from that scary place of relying on just one paycheck to a place of real, solid financial freedom. Let's dive in.
All right, let's start with a really direct question. I want you to ask yourself this. Is your job making you truly safe, or is it just making you comfortable? You know, that steady paycheck, it feels secure, doesn't it? But is that real safety? Or is it just the comfort of knowing what's coming? Because believe me, there is a massive difference between the two.
This quote, this really hits the nail on the head. You're not a loser, but you're not a winner. Think about it. If you've got a job, great. You're not losing, right? But if that's the only thing you've got, your only source of income, you're not exactly winning the game either. You're kind of stuck, walking a tightrope in this really shaky middle ground.
And that shaky middle ground? Well, it actually has a name. We're calling it the one-income trap. And honestly, this is the reality for millions and millions of professionals right now.
Okay, so let's use a little color coding to make this clear. If you don't have a job, you're in what we'll call the red zone. That's the danger zone. Now, once you get that 9 to 5, you move up into the purple zone. It's definitely better than red, for sure. But here's the thing. It's a dangerously comfortable place to hang out. And what makes it so dangerous? Well, here's the brutal truth. That one single stream of income, it's like a faucet that someone else controls. Your employer can turn it off, just like that, for any reason, or no reason at all. Now, that's a scary thought for anyone, but man, if you've got a family depending on you, it's not just scary, it's absolutely catastrophic. So, as if that risk wasn't enough to keep you up at night, there's a huge, massive wave of change on the horizon. A technological shift that's happening as we speak, and it's making that cozy purple zone more dangerous than it has ever been. And when I say a wave, I'm not talking about a little ripple. I'm talking about a full-on tsunami. And that tsunami is artificial intelligence. It's building momentum every single day, and it is heading straight for jobs that are, well, predictable and routine. And listen, this isn't some sci-fi movie plot. This is happening now. It's our new economic reality. And you have to understand why this is happening. It's not personal, it's just business. It's simple math. If a company realizes they can use AI to have one person do the work that 5 people used to do and do it faster and cheaper, well, they have a massive financial incentive to make that change. And bam, just like that, you're pushed out of that comfortable purple zone and right back down into the red.
Okay, so that's the scary part, right? That's the problem. But here's the good news. There is a clear way out. There's a map. Think of it like a ladder that you can climb, taking you away from all that risk and toward a place of real financial power.
So let's look at the rungs on this ladder. At the very bottom, you've got the red zone, no job. The first step up, as we said, is the purple zone. You've got one job. Okay, what's next? Well, you could add a service income like consulting or freelancing. But man, that's tiring. You're trading time for money, and it's really hard to scale. The next rung up, physical products. But that gets complicated fast. You know, shipping, inventory, all that stuff. And then, at the very top of the ladder, the ultimate goal, the most powerful position you can be in, is creating a digital product.
All right, so the top of the ladder. Why is that the holy grail? What's so special about digital products that makes them the ultimate second income stream? Let's get into it.
Okay, the difference here is it's a total game changer. Let's compare. Imagine you're selling a physical book. Every single time you sell one, you have to print it, ship it, handle it. The profit margins are pretty low, and you're always limited by physical stuff. But a digital product? Whoa. You make it one time, and then you can sell that same thing 1,000 times, 100,000 times, 1,000,000 times, with basically zero extra cost. No shipping, no inventory. The profit margins are incredibly high. It's a completely different universe, economically speaking. And the size of the market? It's staggering. Just think about this number, 5.22 billion. That's how many people have a smartphone. They're all walking around with a potential storefront right in their pocket. Every single one of them is a potential customer who can find your digital product, buy it, and get it delivered instantly. And look, digital product might sound like some complicated, techie thing, but it's really not. We're talking about real, practical stuff you could create. It could be a video course teaching something you're good at, or an ebook, maybe a simple app or a piece of software. It could even be something as simple as a fancy Google Sheets template that you can sell over and over. The possibilities are honestly endless.
But, okay, here's the catch, and this is a big one. The biggest thing that stops people from starting this journey, it isn't a lack of technical skills. It's not a lack of good ideas. It's something way deeper. It's all in your head. It's psychological.
Now, what I'm about to say is going to sound completely backwards, but I need you to listen because it's the absolute truth. If you want to build a second source of income, you can't focus on succeeding. You have to focus on failing.
It all boils down to two completely different ways of thinking: the employee mindset versus the creator mindset. See, as an employee, you're trained, you're conditioned to play it safe, avoid mistakes, whatever you do. But as a creator, that's the worst thing you can do. You have to be an experimenter. You have to go in expecting to fail 90% of the time, because it's by trying all those things that don't work that you finally stumble upon the 10% that does, and that 10% can change your entire life.
And that right there, that's the huge mental shift you have to make. A job is not a business. At a job, you get paid for showing up. You put in the hours, you get a paycheck. It's predictable. But a business, it just doesn't work like that. There are zero guarantees. You don't get paid for just trying. You only get paid when you create something of value, something that people actually want to buy. And finding that something, well, that takes a whole lot of trial and, you guessed it, error.
So, okay, let's say you do it. You climb that ladder, you make that mental shift from employee to creator. Where does that lead? What's the final destination here? What's the whole point of this journey?
The destination, we call it the green box. And let's be clear, this isn't about being rich just for the sake of it, or having power over other people. No, this is about having power over your own destiny. It's about having complete control over your life, the freedom to build your dream, to work when and where you want, and to never ever have to rely on one single employer for your survival again. That is what real financial freedom looks like. And here's something really important to remember. The hardest part of this whole thing is going from one income stream to two. That's the biggest mental hurdle. But once you do it, once you break through that barrier, creating a third income stream or a fourth, it becomes so much easier. It's like you've unlocked a new skill. You've learned the process, and you're well on your way to that green box.
So, there you have it. You've seen the map. We've laid out the whole journey, from that risky one-income trap all the way to the freedom of the green box. The path is right there in front of you. So the only real question left is, where are you going to start your climb?